Today, Miley Cyrus has released a song called Used to Be Young, and coincidentally, she released it on the 10-year anniversary of the day that she did her infamous VMAs performance. The same day also that she released Wrecking Ball. And her VMAs performance, I remember it because it was at a time in the culture when celebrities would do these scandalous things, and there was actually a shock factor to it. And now we're so desensitized to that. Nobody pays attention when like Sam Smith is mimicking golden showers in his music videos and dressing up like a demon with a pitchfork on stage. Nobody pays attention. But when Miley Cyrus went on stage with Robin Thicke in, what was that, 2013?
2013.
And had the foam finger and the mouse costume and was twerking. It was a big deal, and a lot of her fellow celebrity ilk hated on her for it.
Yeah.
So she's put out this song, and the lyrics capture Cyrus reflecting on the perceptions she faced as a teenager in the spotlight and her heavily scrutinized past, her bad girl phase that she went into after being a Disney child star, and she's just one of many.
I love how they just have to do it. They're not allowed to just go on and be well-adjusted right away. They have to initially go through their bad girl phase.
Yeah.
It's required.
I think it was even trite when this happened, like in 2013. By then, crazier things have happened at the VMAs. Mm-hmm. Crazier things have happened in general in Hollywood than that performance.
It was more shocking to me when Alexa Panavega got religious and got married and moved to Hawaii.
Like shock me in a positive way. like doing something constructive for your life.
Like her and her husband are both religious, and they got married, have a bunch of kids, and moved to Hawaii. It's like
that's like the Kirk Cameron people.
Yes.
Right? And his little sister was on Full House. Yeah. And she's like very religious now.
Yeah, Candace Cameron Bure is very religious. She doesn't even do. She was Hallmark originally, and she doesn't do that anymore now. She does Great American Family. Mm-hmm. I love her because
they both have a she kids, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her because she's literally the living embodiment of live, laugh, love. Like she's a Hobby Lobby in human form. she looks like a Hobby Lobby. Like if you go to Hobby Lobby, you're gonna see a girl who maybe not like
she is a throw pillow at Home Goods.
Have you ever seen that? There's this video of this. It's like scary horror movie music, and it's a guy going through a house, and it's a whole house of live, laugh, love plaques. Like his wife just hung up like 10 of them in on every wall. Like the whole bathroom is just nothing but live, laugh, love plaques.
It's like one of those horror houses that you go into at a fair.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, but I think that Miley Cyrus was trying to throw shade at Disney through this music video for the song.
There's a $20 one right there from Justin Seagraves.
He said, "Hey, I made a live show finally. Here's some money. No real message. I'm not very interesting." That's okay.
I'm not interesting either, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you for the message. She's wearing this top that has Mickey Mouse on it while she's like bursting into tears, talking about her past and how harshly she was judged for it. In an interview in May just this year, she said, "I carried some guilt and shame around myself for years because of how much controversy and upset I really caused. Now that I'm an adult, I realize how harshly I was judged. I was harshly judged as a child by adults, and now as an adult, I realize that I would never harshly judge a child." And that's fair for a lot of the things she did go through as a child, like before the VMAs performance, before all the rest of the stuff.
She was a 21-year-old teenager.
But when she was actually underage, like her lewd photos were getting leaked, like stuff that was privately sent that was getting leaked. She like lost a distribution deal with Walmart because she was caught smoking weed, which is so like not controversial now.
I still remember when Michael Phelps got caught smoking weed. And everyone's like, he should be disqualified. I'm like, doesn't that just make him even faster than the rest of you if the dude can smoke weed and still beat the crap out of all of you?
Wait, was he smoking weed while he was swimming?
It was after, it was after he won the Olympics. He was like seen at a house party smoking weed, and they made a really big deal
performance
about it.
enhancement.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, we haven't treated our child stars well forever. No. Look at what's her name, Judy Garland. That was terrible.
And she was just getting her name dragged through the mud for doing blackface in 1937 when she was like 12.
Shirley Temple.
And like we
Brooke
could be talking
Shields.
about Judy Garland for much better reasons.
Yeah.
than that. You know, there are still problems like stage moms and abusers in Hollywood.
Do you think a lot of like what we see now with the perform, like how much we see in the culture of like parents that like they use their kids as a platform comes from like, remember like the stage moms, but also like they had the TV shows about dance moms and stuff like that.
The beauty queen moms.
The kids who were in the teenage
There are
beauty.
so many like socially acceptable ways to put your kid out there, expose them to the wrong type of attention for your own material benefit, or maybe just living vicariously through them.
You have it now with like the trans moms who like push their kids out there. There was something this morning with this woman being like, my child's been on testosterone for a month. It's going great. And the child is just like, I don't know. It's very cringy and creepy.
There are very evil things that mothers are capable of, and very great loving acts as well. But you know, it's on the extreme ends. Thank you.
Crisis party. Thank you guys.
It's party time.
That's Carter and Phil and Ian singing to us.
Nice.
Up to a certain amount of super chats equals a crisis party.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, it's fantastic. It's fantastic, guys.
I did see an interesting thing. I was talking to the producers of Sound of Freedom, which is this movie that's opposed to, it's like an anti-human trafficking film.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to them, and I was asking them about how they dealt with the children actors on the set. And how it would be, you know, difficult to watch knowing that the children were actually aware of what the story was and what they were going through. And they said that they didn't even tell the kids, the child actors, what the story was. So the parents were on set the entire time. When they needed the child to cry, the young boy, there was a scene where he was supposed to cry. And his dad was right next to him the whole time. And it turns out that the child had recently lost his grandfather. So they talked to him about his grandfather, and then he cried, and then they shot the scene.
I feel bad about that.
Yeah,
just hearing that.
Felt kind of bad about it too. But I'm glad they didn't tell him you were just, you know, almost raped by a human trafficker.
Like, how do you even tell a kid what any of this means?
Emotionally, I don't know if that would even be accessible to him in the same way that your grandfather would be. There is an argument to be made there about, it's not exploitation, but it's like an adult who chooses to let their brain go there for a job is one thing, like because it is emotionally taxing to do those types of things, right?
It's inherently controversial because the kids don't know what they're getting into. They don't know what they're involved in.
It is manipulative. It's just manipulative.
Like I was thinking that
way.
with the Pope's Exorcist, where like this kid is possessed in the movie and he has to say these extremely vulgar, disgusting things. They're probably telling him to say certain lines that when you word them, it looks the same, and they dub in the line. Fine, but like, is he going to be cool with that later on in life?
They just have him say
I bet they just have him say
Either way,
they're not going through that much
when
work
he's an adult. Is he going to feel good about that? Like, it's weird, right? And also, I mean, I just saw this. I didn't know about this, but apparently when Miley was 15 in 2008, she did this photo shoot for Vanity Fair that was extremely controversial because she appeared to be topless in it. She had this sheet over her, and she appeared to be like not wearing any clothes, and she was the one that got shit for it. Not Vanity Fair, not all the people that were involved in this, all the adults orchestrating this, the photographer, the creative directors. It was Miley who had to apologize for it. That's insane.
It's giving Balenciaga.
And later on, she was like, actually, I'm not sorry, F you. And I'm like, I'm kind of there with you. Like, that wasn't your fault at all. That's extremely creepy that some adult had the idea to even portray you in that way.
Yeah.
It's just really wrong. A lot of the things that happened to her, and I'm not going to absolve her of accountability for the rest of the stuff that she did that is extremely vulgar and classless, including the VMAs. I mean, she was 20 years old by then. And you make your own choices. It's a fact.
It is still shocking to me that the culture even shamed them at that point. I was a dude. I didn't care. Like, it didn't matter to me, right? But the world was very different, and it wasn't that long ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody would be reacting like this. Even Brooke Shields said, like, Brooke Shields played her mom in Hannah Montana, and she said, where did I go wrong? Like, she was even trashing Miley for this when she herself experienced something even worse at the hands of these disgusting people in Hollywood. She knows what it's like.
And she's spoken out against that.
And she still shamed Miley for doing this at the VMAs. Like, you should know better than anyone she wasn't really the only person in control here.
The thing I mostly remember about that performance was the complaints of cultural appropriation.
For twerking.
Yeah, for twerking and for having like
really, that's the biggest problem that you got from
that's
watching
what
that,
I remember.
really.
That's like what I remember was the issue.
So stupid.
And I remember also they were people were complaining that she had black backup dancers, and it's like you're not supposed to hire
were
black
in teddy
women.
bear costumes.
Like, what do you mean? Like, why can't you hire black women to
They're
dance?
like, don't hire black people.
Right. It's like Peter Dinklage in the Snow White
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
He's like, no hiring any, little people or whatever the appropriate word is, insert here. No hiring any of these people except for me. I get a job. And all I could think of was like with, what's it called? How do I not remember? Wizard of Oz, right? So with Wizard of Oz, they did this big show, and it was Judy Garland, of course, and they had all of these little people who came out to be like munchkins in Munchkin City, and these people all came out to do this. They had never met each other before. They'd never been around this many people who were of their same stature, and it was great. Apparently, the relationships were formed, lasting, lifelong friendships. All of these people were able to come together, which kind of seems cool, like.
Now they believe, they really do firmly believe stay in your own lane. You're not allowed to go to anything outside of your culture.
So Dinklage said, no other people of my stature get jobs
Only
in
I get to
Hollywood
get the
except
jobs.
for me.
He's
That's
like,
so rude.
It's a bunch of gatekeepers.
There's a $20 one
Baron
right
of
there.
Gray Matter said the child coaches were told not to tell the kids about the film's theme. One day they had a substitute coach who told one of the kids, scene where the girl is in the hotel room, about what was happening. Real tears in that scene.
Oh, really? That happened? That's awful. That's the Sound of Freedom
Why would you
thing?
do that?
That's terrible. What a terrible coach.
Yeah.
Not
What
good. But yeah, you're expected to stay in your own lane. You're not supposed to in any way, because like I said, cultural appropriation will be immediately where they go with a lot of those claims, because people are in a defensive mode in culture now, where they don't go to paying homage, they don't go to actual influence that you might have had with what you're sharing. They think you're making fun of them,
right?
Because they're miserable people. The people who not the other artists, but the people.
So they think that everyone else feels that way.
My culture is not your costume. Remember?
Oh my goodness, that's so stupid.
The girl who wore the
the Chinese outfit
for her prom.
She looked great.
And they showed it to a bunch of people from that culture, and they were like, "Oh, awesome, great!" Like somebody's like paying homage. I guess they did. PragerU kind of did it with Will Witt when he did the thing with the sombrero. And he went
I was
around.
just thinking that.
Even that was a little bit over the top for me, because I did actually find the mustache to be a bit hilarious and ridiculous. But
But the thing is, like, people who are Chinese who look at that dress, people who are Mexican who look at the sombrero, because I remember that, and they were like, no, it's fine. Yeah. They don't think of themselves as, depressed minority cultures. They like their culture, but like we as Americans, we look at them and think they must think we hate them when we talk about them, because we hate ourselves so much. So maybe everyone hates themselves.
They're also probably not terminally online,
right?
And that's too. A lot of it does come down to that now. Like, I firmly believe that. Like, in the real world, when you have these discussions with people, it really comes down to, in a lot of ways, somebody who lives constantly online and is offended by literally just about anything. And that's because your phone makes you more depressed the more time you spend on it. It does.
Does it really?
I firmly believe that. I think if you live in your phone for you're instantly in a better mood if you just get up and go outside for 10 minutes, right? So you're going to be more on edge. The blue light's affecting your mood, and it makes people miserable.
Interesting.
But Miley's definitely a kind of a litmus test. Like, she kind of shows you how far the culture has changed.
This took me down memory lane. Like, I remember when I was in middle school when this happened, it was like everybody just thought she was a worthless floozy. Like, I can't say what we actually said at the time, but like everyone just knew this was trash. Everyone agreed on that, and no one would say that now. No one would even dare say that.
Well, it would be celebrated as a win for womanhood, whatever that is, because they don't know other women.
It would be a blip on the radar, because this is everything that comes out of Hollywood now.
Because WAP is already out, and they've been like, doesn't matter.
The Today Show called it embarrassingly raunchy. Miley Cyrus didn't blur the line; she straight up crossed it. The Parents Television Council said, "How is this an image of former child star Miley Cyrus appropriate for 14-year-olds?" Like, nobody even asks, is this appropriate for kids anymore? They just, I mean, they go out of their way to expose kids to the most inappropriate, raunchy material on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, and they claim that it's their justification, that they have to.
Yeah. Bill Maher said, watching VMAs, haven't been in a strip club in a while, but good to see nothing has changed. Sherry Shepard said, Miley was going to hell in a twerkin' handbasket. When I was growing up, it was called twerkin'. They got these cute artistic names for it. That was called a hoe move right there. Brooke Shields said, I don't approve. Where did I go wrong? I want to know who's advising her and why it's necessary. It's a bit desperate.
Is all of this...
The FCC got complaints as well. Like, it's just insane. Like, there would never be a response like this today.
Is all of this just because there is no break? You can't really put brakes on the sexual revolution? Like, it just has to keep going? There is no end to it, right? Like,
well, the end to it is the sexual revolution is going so far that we're converting children to be the opposite sex so that they can't have sex. Yeah. And then that will be the end.
And then take that, Miley. Then nobody will buy your music because they won't be able to do that, right? And now she's also talking about just her behavior at that time. Did she talk about like drugs or anything in that piece?
I mean, she says, I was not on drugs when I did the VMA's performance. I'm sure there were a lot of drugs involved in her bad girl phase, but
she has some cringy music where she talks about drug use, and it's
on her Bangers album.
I only remember the one because she co-ops like a Ghostface Killah lyric at the end, and that I found that particularly offensive because she doesn't even sample it. She must have just bought rights to use part of the song "Cream" in the song, and that's a legendary song.
She talked about being high off perks in 23.
Yeah. I do still love the song Adore You, though. I do. I do. But yeah.
Also, like Robin Thicke got a lot of hate for this song, Blurred Lines, back then.
Yeah, I remember that.
Rape culture.
Yeah,
that's what they called
right.
it.
That's right. It was rape culture. I forgot about rape culture.
Was this because that would have been big on talking about it on university campuses at the time?
Yeah. Well, they're still into that, right? They're still like into dealing with.
He was kind of proto-canceled.
I just this year watched the show Veronica Mars for the first time.
Oh my goodness!
And when she goes
I love that show.
Yeah, when she goes to college, they talk about rape culture in that show. They sure do. And there's you have the prototypical feminists being made fun of by prototypical frat boys, and in the show, luckily both end up being kind of bad. Like the feminists are seen as annoying, and the jocks are just dumb.
Right.
But that's
like the Barbie movie. The feminists are annoying and the jocks are dumb.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.